This is Daddy Show. Step off.
It's time for the main event.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. I'm yelling. You tell I'm yelling? This is Tom Clark's main event. We'll get to it. Here I am. What's up, kids? I continue to have poor timing on my own show. Fire that producer, I say. Get him out of here. Enough's enough. I've had all I can stands. I can't stands no more. Happy Friday to you, kids, one and all. Hope you're doing freaking fantastic. The ticker is ticking. This is right. You're right. This is correct if you read it. Episode 309. It's nothing compared to what my guest has done. Those guys are probably up in the 500s by now, if not more. They quit counting. I listen to Mark Maron's podcast. His latest episode is like number 1,464. I'm like, God. I'm a big Maron fan, by the way. He actually did, back in 2014, I saw him live in Charlotte. And I got him to do a soundbite intro from my pod. Got up in a little line to meet him. And I said, can I trouble you to do this for me? I got to dig that up. You go back and listen to the beginning of the first year of my show, first 2 years of my show. He's on the beginning intro. It's hilarious. It doesn't make any sense, but it's Maron and he's great. I got to put that back on here. I should make it a soundbite. Let's say some hellos before we say hello to our guest today. First of all, before we start speaking, please smash the like button. It means loads to me. And if you would share this video on your Facebook feed, that'd be great as well. I need a haircut. Can you tell? It's all over the place. You think I would have, fixed my face. I did do that, but I did not fix the hair. Yes, this is fixed. This is definition of as good as it's going to get from this guy. Okay. So if you were expecting more, you're very disappointed right now. It is what it is. Can't turn back the hands of time, but only so much for fear of breaking the clock. Carlos Martinez, what's up, my friend? Robbie, how you doing? Eric Jackson, you're number 3. Usually you run a little bit late. I'm proud of you. Awesome. Sugar Shane's in the house. Did Jim Brown pass away? When did this happen? I've had my head down into the keyboard all day long, man. I had no idea. Ray All Day's here. What's going on? Guten Tag, Sandy in Germany. Thank you guys for sharing the feed. We need to get our crowd back. Last Friday was a little thin. This week looks to be a little bit thinner. Let's hope that we get some folks back here on the show. We see the numbers going up. Thanks again. If you are tuning in right now, you've never watched the show, what's up? I'm Tom. This is my show. Been going live since 2014. Got 380 episodes in the back catalog. Go take a look, download them. I'm on all the major platforms. None of my content's behind a paywall. Power to the people. That's what I say. That's what we're all about. Let's welcome our guest here. He can't wait. This is the guy that I'm telling you right now. He is the mighty Thor of podcasting. All right. Once you see him, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right. This guy, he's the man. Okay. He is 1/5. I don't know how many. They've got like 12 people on their show. I don't have 12 friends. I don't know 12 people. Do you know what I'm saying? They've got a collective of people on the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, which, by the way, go subscribe, kids. You'll be thanking me later. Everyone, please welcome back to the program, friend of the show, Jay Luft. What's up, Jay? How are you, my friend?
Hello. I am very good. As we just established before, I am losing my voice a little bit, which is just great timing.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
You got a great shirt, man. I can see it from here.
Oh, my Mark Briscoe one.
Love it. Hashtag them boys.
Them boys.
You guys know, Jay, you know the kids. Kids, you know Jay. Please make Jay feel welcome. Let's see. Sandy says, I listened to the awesome podcast. There you go.
Thank you, Sandy.
There you go. Jean. Let's put Jean up here because she's been a loyal viewer for a long time. Mean Jean is here going through some chemotherapy. Oh, Jean, all the best to you, my friend. Everybody watching this live and after the fact, please send Gene your well wishes. Gene, hang in there. Hang in there. Keep fighting. Good for you. And thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I greatly appreciate you. You're the best. Let's see. Josh will tell you hello, my friend. Good to see you. Kids, before we get cranking again, if you will, please like this show. Share this show on your feed here today, not just on the Facebook, on the Twitter machine, wherever else you do your social media, if you will, please and thank you. It means a lot to me. Jay, when did Jim Brown pass away? Do you know this? I'm getting all these people telling me.
I have no idea.
I had no clue.
I'm not a huge NFL guy, so I don't really keep my ear to the ground with that one.
I think Jim Brown's career in Hollywood lasted longer than his NFL career did.
Oh, really?
And a Hall of Fame NFL player. But yeah, Jim Brown, look up his stuff, man. Good guy. And not a bad actor, honestly. So we've seen this guy's name mentioned already. And, you hate to start the show, not on a down note, but we'll just call it a celebratory note of the guy's life. Superstar Billy Graham recently has passed. Jay, I know you're a big wrestling fan. How familiar are you with Billy's work? Did you watch old clips? You know about him. Yes. What do you think?
I've watched the documentary he's got on the network. I believe it was a DVD before. It's one of the older ones they did. He was probably one of the most influential names in all of wrestling. No superstar, no Dusty or Hogan. They've said that themselves. Yeah, it's a great loss. And it's insane, isn't it? Because like he's overcome so much. It happened during Dynamite, didn't it? They announced it literally as it happened.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it's just an absolute shame. Hope he rests in peace and he's in a better place.
And go back and look at his stuff with Dusty when Dusty went up north to work him when he was champion. I don't think we can appreciate how over Dusty was. When people think Dusty Rhodes being over, they think Crockett, and they should. But go back before Crockett, when Dusty was in Florida, and Dusty would go up north to New York to work Graham. That crowd took to Dusty like he was God Almighty. He was everything he did was popular. When him and Graham tussled, it was Graham bumped for him, throwing himself all over the ring. It's such fun matches, dude. I actually went to high school with a girl whose mom went to high school with Superstar Billy Graham.
Wow.
Yeah, and she said that he went around school all the time saying, "One day I'm gonna be a pro wrestler," and they'd say, "Okay, sure, pal, whatever." And then fast forward X number of years later, she sees him on TV or something, goes, "Oh my God, I think that's him," and he had made his dream come true. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. All the best to his family, to his friends and his fans. Hate to see him go. I know his health hasn't been good in recent years. He was an admitted steroid abuser, right? He didn't try to hide that. Yeah. They take their toll. They ravage your body, especially for prolonged use. So I'm with you. Hopefully he's found some peace now. I hate that we lost him. So yeah, Sugar Shane echoing the sentiments. There would be no Hulk Hogan without dude. Hulk Hogan knows Superstar Billy Graham his entire career. There's no doubt about it. The 24-inch pythons. Hogan did. I mean, that was Graham. Are you kidding? Yeah. Let's see, kids. Let's get into something that is fun to talk about. And every time I put the man's name up, you guys love it. And you're continued to be reminded of why I'm your favorite podcast host. There we go. Let's talk about this silly CM Punk and now Ace Steel thing. So, Jay, Ace was the only one fired from the whole debacle.
Yeah. Okay? He seemed to be like the one who was not most at fault. That's not the way to put it, is it? But the most aggressive of the lot. Obviously, he bit Kenny Omega. There was photographs to show how badly he bit him. Apparently, from all the stuff that come out, he was like kind of the aggressor from the start. Obviously, Punk threw punches and threw a chair at someone, but Ace was the one that kind of like escalated it all. I mean, it's a weird situation, the whole thing, isn't it?
It is.
If they're keeping them separate, I don't necessarily see what the issue is. It can't be one thing for one and one thing for another. At the same time, CM Punk's a guy who brings AEW a dumpster truck full of money. Ace Steel is his weird friend who bites people. So, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, don't we all have a weird friend that bites people? Let's be honest.
Yeah, we've got Aaron on the podcast, to be fair.
There you go. Here comes the perspective of a guy that doesn't work for AEW, that wasn't there when it happened, and really shouldn't shoot off at the mouth. But hey, I'm going to do it anyway. It feels like, man, this CM Punk fella has a lot of stones to be calling this kind of shot. Like, you're not coming back for free. They're paying you, right? Like, you're not having to work with the Bucks. They gave your own show, right? What do you mean this guy has to come too? Haven't they done pretty much enough? I don't know. I don't know.
The thing that's like really bizarre about it all was apparently like he was on all the promotional material for Collision, and they took it off that morning. Like they took all mention of him off, which would indicate that he's timed that to like he's timed him saying, "Oh, well, no Ace, no nothing," to basically be like, "I've got you over a barrel here. What are you gonna announce the show without me?" And they've obviously called his bluff and gone, "Well, yeah, right,
yeah,
we don't." At the end of the day, CM Punk's a massive draw, but AEW were in a very, very good position and a position of growth prior to CM Punk coming in. Obviously, that kind of him coming in strapped the rocket to that and helped like escalate that a lot quicker than it would have, but they would have got there eventually, given the trajectory they were on.
I totally agree.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Like I think he thinks he's more valuable to the company than he is, especially given how many problems he causes backstage.
You know, this was said in storyline, but I remember Brett and Sean back in the day, one of the most fascinating bits of storytelling I've personally ever seen play out live. But I remember that Sean was the face in this part of the feud. And he cuts his promo on Brett face to face in the ring. When he looks, he does this with the crowd. And he goes, "You actually believe that all of this is here for you?" And the way he said it, I'm like, that's genius. Like, because at the time that was starting to become the buzz on Brett was like, man, he really is sort of an entitled somebody, isn't he? Like, and again, that's blurring the lines between fiction and reality. I don't want to get too hung up on that, but that's kind of what it feels like here. Like, you know, all this is not for you. We were here before. We'll be here after. The show must go on. Who do you think blinks here, Jay?
I think at the end of the day, the way they've got to look at it is Punk's one man. They've got a company of really, really talented individuals, or they've got one very stubborn, problematic individual. Like, the needs of many over the needs of one in this one. Like, the company will go on. The company will be fine without him. I think it's money left on the table, him not coming back.
Yeah.
I think it's money left on the table, the Elite and CM Punk not working together. Obviously, given the nature of what happened, they're well within the rights to say, "Oh, I'm not comfortable working with that guy." But at the same time, they talk about how much money they bring to the company. All of them do. The Bucks do. Kenny does. Not so much Kenny, but the Bucks do, and Punk does definitely. If they want to bring money to the company, as Dax Harwood said, that'll probably be the biggest gate they'll ever draw. So they did CM Punk and FTR versus the Elite. But they've got to get past the differences, haven't they?
For sure. And plus, I got a Star Trek reference from you out of that. That was nice. I picked up on that. Larry Hoffman says this whole world deal made me dislike Kenny Omega. Larry, expand on that. I'd like to hear your side. I'd like to hear your opinion. Marie, what's up, my dear? How are you? Nick Hausman reported that the reason he was pulled off the promotion was miscommunication with Larry. Well, that could be. That could very well be. I can tell you for 100% certain that things have already been filmed. I know that for a fact. So this has been in the works for a while. This didn't just happen last week. This has been under wraps and in the works for a while. So I think there's every indication he's coming back, and I think that's the move. I still don't understand how you give this guy so much. Look, I'm still a Punk fan, but I'm a fan of a lot of that locker room as well. So I'm like, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Ray, CM Punk is being a massive tool by forcing steel down their throat. He's a backstage pain in the butt. I mean, we'll move on after this, but what value does Ace Steel bring that they would even want to bring him back, Jay, just to make Punk happy? I don't know.
Well, he agented a lot of Punk stuff, didn't he? And obviously there was a lot of like kind of other stuff he was working on backstage. He is a good man for the business, but at the same time, he assaulted two of the EVPs of the company. Like that's a bit more of a con than a pro, isn't it? Let's be honest. Impact apparently approached them as well, to bring him in as an agent. Like, it's not like the guy's got a shortage of work coming his way.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's just Punk trying to get his friend a job because it seems like he doesn't have many of them anymore.
That's fair. Changing gears just a bit. You and I have been gushing about this, and we should. NJPW Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Kids, if you've not decided to give $10 of your money a month to New Japan World, I submit you're doing life wrong. I'm telling you. It is so worth your time, especially if you're a pro wrestling fan. And I know it can be daunting when you don't know anybody. I completely get it. But I promise you, once you start watching, you will be hooked. Because, you know, all those times you sit there and watch American Pro Wrestling, you're like, God, it's another promo. You don't got to worry about that here. They're telling the story in the ring, and Kevin Kelly is killing it on the commentary, helping them tell the story on the mic. So what do you think so far about the Best of Super Juniors tournament, Jay?
I've loved it. So me and you've been kind of like talking like daily about this, haven't we? Where we've obviously, because a guy who I know very well, who you didn't really know at the time, Dan Maloney, he was the world champion of TNT, my local independent company. He's an incredible wrestler. He's just joined United Empire, and he's been putting on a good show. Like, I'd say today was his first kind of real showing of what he can do. In regards to the fact that he's very much similar to Jon Moxley in the sense he'll brawl through the crowd, he'll work really strong style, and then he'll just drop people on their heads with pile drivers. But yeah, he's great. Speedball Mike Bailey, I've been a huge fan of his for a long time. I think this has just made me love him even more. And even guys who I wasn't too familiar with, like Kevin Knight, who really impressed me. Always good to see like some of the New Japan guys like El Desperado, Kushida. You know, Kushida's having a pretty bad tournament at the moment. But yeah, it's the quality of wrestling's just been a completely different level to anything else I've seen all year.
And, you know, not for nothing, kids. You're not. There's no Okada. There's no Ishii. There's no Makabe. There's no Goto. Right? I mean, these are not heavyweights on this show. So there's no Sonata or Takagi or Naito. But it's still some spot on wrestling. I'm watching Taguchi wrestle TJP, and I'm gonna tell you something. TJP is a dude. I've heard the things he said, and I've seen comments that make me feel, ugh, right? But man, TJP in the ring, you cannot argue with how insanely good this guy is, man.
Yeah. He's had some really good matches as well.
Yes.
This match with Mike Bailey in particular was really good. To be honest, like, I think it's been really refreshing to see, because obviously every year in the last like sort of like 3 years, it's been Hiromu Takahashi wins it every time, and he always wins his first match. And then this year they had him in Speedball have an absolute barn burner of a match, and Speedball beat him, which they've done a really good job of making it feel like he's not like a dead set to win it like every year. Every year of the last 3 years they've done, where it's like, oh yeah, Hiromu's going to win this again, and then he's going to probably wrestle the champion in the final and beat the champion. It's been a real refreshing change. I feel like this is the most New Japan tournament they've done since the pandemic, I'd say.
That's fair. Pick a winner.
I can't look past Speedball at the moment, but also I feel like Leo Rush and Robbie Eagles are both kind of dark horse picks that look like they could do it. Obviously, Hiromu's like kind of got like his wins kind of back up there. So's El Desperado. You'd be a fool to kind of write them and Ishimori off, but I'd say it's between one of those 6.
I agree. I think it's Leo, and I think this leads to Leo eventually beating Hiromu. Not this month, not even in June. I think down the road, perhaps.
Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think this would be. I thought I was ready. At what is it, Sakura Genesis? I thought I was ready, and then I needed to win that tournament. I needed to prove to myself like I beat the best in the world in that tournament. That kind of thing. So I could see him doing that. I don't want to discount what the comment Larry asked you what your take was on Omega. I think Kenny Omega is the one putting his needs over what's best for AW. Everyone is quick to blame Punk, but it takes 2 to tango. I can't argue with that. That's fair. I wasn't there. I don't know that Punk is the only one to blame. I completely agree with you. Charlotte, no problem. Thanks for hanging out. Hope it's all is well. I'll get it out. All is well with you and your family too. Tim says Ace Steele's like Ben Simmons. They only care about themselves. Man, what you got to throw shade at the NBA here for, Tim? He's asking if you have your tickets ready for All In.
I have, yes.
How's your seats, by the way?
They're pretty good, actually. So we were trying to get floor. Well, we tried to get ringside, and then that was like, yeah, they're gone. Like as soon as the pre-sale opened on them, it was like they're gone. So we've got just tiered. So we're all dotted all over the place, but me and Aaron and Courtney, his girlfriend, are all sat together, and then I think Ben and his partner are like the next block over. But we're basically facing the stage, a little bit raised up. It's going to be a good view either way. I'm kind of thankful that I'm not on the floor from where we were looking at, because from doing floor seats at wrestling shows before, especially in the UK where everyone's standing up and going crazy, it's very hard to see no matter how tall you are. So I'm glad at least if I'm tiered, I can kind of see over the guy in front of me's head.
Yeah. I had that problem when my kid was a lot younger. I would take him to wrestling shows, and being on the floor is great, but being on the floor, if you're on the short side, is not so great. So it never failed. A tall guy would sit, so I'd have to get up and switch seats with my kid. And then during the moments when everybody's on their feet, I'd have him stand in the seat. I'm like, here, stand in the seat, son, so you can see. Because I felt so bad for him. I felt like he can't see what's going on, man. Ray says he's going to Double or Nothing next week. Man.
Nice.
So Jay and I just did a fantasy booking, I suppose you can call it, for All In. And I'm not just looking past Forbidden Door. I'm looking past Double or Nothing too. I'm thinking about August already.
Yeah, it's all that's on my mind at the moment as far as wrestling shows go.
Yeah, we'll have to preview Double or Nothing next week. And your Fridays have opened up a lot more than they have been. You never should have told me that, because now I'll be leaning on you. It'll get to the point where it's like, Tom wants me to, you know what I mean? So, let's move on to the next thing. In the vein of said AEW, what do you think about this new little ditty they're calling Collision? Saturday night seems like a good night for a fight. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more, say no more. However, and I ran that by Phil. I'm like, dude, he's like, it feels like, well, what night would they have done? Think about it. And I'm like, it's fair. Monday's Raw, right? What's Tuesday? NXT?
Tuesday's NXT, Wednesday's Dynamite, Thursday's Ring of Honor and Impact.
Yep. Friday's Rampage.
Friday's SmackDown and Rampage. Sunday's pay-per-views.
You ran something by me when we recorded earlier about the colors, and I've seen people pointing this out. What's your take on the colors? And it looks kind of like just identical to the Nitro logo.
I love it. I think it's great. So when Dynamite first aired on TNT, like the first sort of couple of episodes, I remember watching it and thinking, because when I grew up, I was a massive WCW kid. It was easier to watch WCW than it was to watch WWE for a couple of years, before WWE become more accessible. So every Friday night I'd watch WCW Worldwide, which would just be like a kind of just like a panel show of highlights from Nitro and Thunder and Saturday Night. And the first episode of Dynamite reminded me of watching Nitro. So I was always like, I like that feel. The fact they're leaning into it now and they're finally like, yeah, we're the alternative. We are what WCW was to WWE or WWF in the 90s. I think it's great. I love the logo. I think it's a really cool throwback. And obviously it's going to come with praise and criticism because that's how people work. But I think it's great. I really do. I love that they're leaning into it.
Ray with an excellent question. This show is like SmackDown, the B show, ? Are they going to have separate title belts? Oh my God, please no, kill me now.
They've said they're going to have the champions go between both shows.
Excellent.
And then it's going to be like a sort of soft brand split. So there's going to be people who travel. I don't think they're going to do like an actual draft, but I think they're just going to have like a crew that travels with Collision and a crew that travels with Dynamite. And then if people need to go on another show, they can do.
And it wouldn't be that hard, especially if you're running, because they tend to run the same city when they come to town. They run the same city for multiple shows, so it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, well, I think the schedule, Fightful put like a massive breakdown of it, like pretty quickly after. I think the schedule they said was going to be Dynamite and Rampage record and Ring of Honor and Collision record. And if you look at when they announced like the first six dates, there was some that were live on Saturdays and there was some that were on a Thursday. So you can see that's kind of what they're going to be going for.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I hope it's distinct. I hope it's not the same identical thing as Dynamite. And my opinion on any new bit of wrestling programming is, did it add value to the company? What does it bring that I can't wait to see this week? And I don't have a lot of complaints with Dynamite, if I'm being honest. So, but I don't know that I want a carbon copy of Dynamite either. Sugar Shane says, I wish Collision would be a studio show like it used to be on Saturday nights. I respect that, and I think that works for the NWA. I don't think it's a great idea for AEW because, in my opinion, it makes the company seem smaller than what it is.
Yeah.
Like studio wrestling would make it just feel smaller. Larry says, I just wish Ring of Honor could get a show. I bet, or Ring of Honor has a show. You're talking about on TV. That's what you're talking about.
I think I actually enjoy Ring of Honors at the moment more than I do Dynamite and Rampage.
Yeah.
Just because it reminds me of old school Ring of Honor. Like it's got like, I say old school, when they were on HDNet, it reminds me of that. Like it's the same sort of thing where it's just not massive storylines, just a bit of an underlying thing, and then just have a really good match. Like it's 10 minutes. Zack Sabre Jr. and AR Fox are going to just like have an absolute banger. Great.
Kept the stage. They kept the music. Like, that's great. Kept the commentators. It's awesome.
Oh, the commentary team are fantastic as well.
Yeah, dude. It's really, really good. Rick Urbani and
Caprice Coleman. And now they brought Nigel in as well.
They have. And Caprice Coleman once a week can be guaranteed to get a, oh my God. I love that so much. So good. Those three guys. And Nigel McGuinness is having to be the heel.
Yeah.
He's so dry and he's so flat. Like when they're acting,
calling out Bryan Danielson as well, which makes me think he might be at Wembley.
I mean, not for nothing. Last time we heard about Nigel is that he couldn't pass a physical. At least that's what WWE told him, right?
That's what WWE told him.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, there was somebody this week. Who was it? Said Randy Orton. They're telling him never wrestle again.
It was Bob Orton.
Yeah. Who was it said that this week, that something about Randy Orton should never wrestle again? Their doctors are. I'm like, who are you fooling? Okay. How many guys have we heard they'll never wrestle? Shut up.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Nigel hasn't wrestled for around a decade. Like any health issues he would have had, you'd assume would, like, look at people like Edge, Saraya, Danielson. They were all told you're never going to do it again, and here they are. I think he could. He did tweet to Tony Khan saying, if it sells out, I'll dust my wrestling boots off. So
nice.
that might indicate more than what he's letting on. Obviously, as I say, he keeps taking little pot shots at Bryan Danielson on commentary. And he knows Danielson better than you and I do, for sure. But like, if you're gonna get in the ring with Bryan, you gotta be ready. I mean, it's not gonna be half-hearted. Like, yeah. But also, if he's only gonna have one more match,
well, that's true.
Probably the perfect opponent for him to have it with. That's
fair as well.
Yeah.
Carlos, what's up? Did you hear the rumor SmackDown is going to be on Amazon Prime after the contract with Fox expires? I think that would be in my opinion, that's a bad move for that company. They need to keep their product on terrestrial television because it's a worldwide audience. I know people that do not have the internet. I know it's wacky. And that's, WWE doesn't want to lose any demographic, in my opinion, or any background, financial or otherwise. I think they want every fan they can possibly get, and they've always played to every fan. You think there's any possibility this happens?
I mean, never say never, right? Like, there was talk that it was going to be on ESPN's streaming service before Disney bought that, and before the Fox deal. So who knows? I mean, Amazon Prime's very accessible nowadays. It's not like it's not like it's a complete and utter like reach to get to. I do agree with you though. Like, it should be as accessible as possible. So yeah, there is that. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be weird being on Amazon Prime as well, right?
Yeah, it's not exactly but I mean, yeah, it does feel weird.
We have sports on Amazon Prime. Like, they show like Premier League games. I think they get like 3 or 4 a season. But there's always problems whenever I've tried to watch it, like live stuff on there. So would it work?
Shane says, Tom, is there a way they could combine a studio show feel with an arena? Maybe. I don't know. I still, I remember
to a degree, they kind of have that sort of feeling with the way they like in recent weeks they've had like Renee kind of running around backstage, going to do backstage interviews, and then like the match is happening around that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say they could modernize it that way, but an actual studio show like NWA, who knows?
Yeah, it feels really small to me. Alma, how are you, my friend? Thanks for tuning in. What's up, Ron? Says, wasn't Nigel? He was actually retired because of hepatitis. That was what we all heard.
But I believe he said that's all cleared up now.
Oh, there you
go. I think he got that cleared up quite a while ago.
Mm.
Because he spoke about it on his they did like a documentary on the network about it, and he said, "Oh yeah, it's all cleared up now, but I've been retired for that long. I don't know if I'd be able to do it again."
Tim says Thursday Night NFL is on Prime TV. There you go. Yeah, like I said, never say never. Staying with New Japan for a bit, Jon Moxley heading back to New Japan since 2020. First time since 2020 for NJPW Dominion. Mox here is a killer, right? Yeah. He's John by God Moxley or whatever, but in Japan he's Death Rider, and Shota Umino is his young boy, and Shota has, coming to his own. He's still carrying John's jacket around with him, which is the coolest thing ever. What do you think about? I don't know. I don't think anything's been announced for him yet, but who would you like to see John face now?
So there's a 6-man tag match announced for Resurgence.
Okay.
Which is Mox, Shota, and Yuta.
Yeah.
Versus Chaos. I think it's Okada, Ishii, and somebody else. Okada feels like the only one he's not really, the only big name he's not wrestled anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't cross paths when he was in the G1. They didn't, like, he's had this match with Tanahashi at Forbidden Door. He wrestled Suzuki. Was it Sakura Genesis or New Beginning? Obviously, you have matches at various Wrestle Kingdoms with various people. So Okada feels kind of like the big one he's not wrestled. The only other person I could think that he's not had a match with yet that he should definitely have a match with is Zack Sabre Jr.
Mm.
But I feel like if Mox and Okada are going to be in a tag match together, it would make sense for that to then devolve into Mox versus Okada.
Why did I think he had worked Sabre? Has he not?
He was meant to. So when he wrestled Suzuki, after the match, Sabre had a stare down with him.
That's right.
And then COVID happened, so they didn't do it. He has wrestled Sabre for, I want to say it was Prestige or Defy.
Nice.
A company in the Northwest anyway. But he hasn't wrestled him on like a grand stage.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him back, dude. There's a different. Mox is different in Japan. There's a different switch that flips. If you ever read his book, you'll know what I mean. He's a different switch flips for him. Please welcome to the show, Ashley Tate. Ash joined us on the main event a few weeks ago. Ash, how are you, my dear? Good to see you. Chris with a K. Brother, I didn't mean to ignore you earlier. I know you're here. Sandy in Germany says Corey Graves is cleared. God, dude, he's not been cleared in like 20 years or something. It's been a long time. Do we think he's coming back at some point?
I heard he was cleared, but I'm pretty sure they said there wasn't any plans for him to come back. It's just if they wanted to do something, he is. That being said, every time Pat McAfee shows up, the level of disgust in Corey's voice would indicate to me that we are probably going to get Corey Graves versus Pat at WrestleMania 40. If I had to ballpark something, that's when I think we'd see it.
I mean, ask Corey if he wants to come back, and I'm sure I know what he'd say. Yeah, why not? Switching gears again before we take this thing home. We've been hearing about this for a while, okay? About Roman Reigns possibly going Hollywood. I guess this demanding road schedule is getting the best of him, Jay. So he's got to get off the road because he's working way too many dates now. That's a joke.
Hardest working man in wrestling.
Oh yeah, he's the James Brown of WWE, baby. Look, all you WWE lifers, relax. I happen to like Roman quite a bit. What do you make of this, man? Like, and give it to me in regards of rewinding to Mania when we all said Cody didn't go over. Are you kidding? Let's rewind to that and go to where we are now, because I still can't get off the idea that nothing good came of Cody not winning that belt. Nothing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, they do get to finish the story eventually. It's a weird one, isn't it? Like, if they knew he was taking more time off, they knew he was going to have more dates. Obviously, the kind of way I'm thinking about it is at WrestleMania 30, they had the streak end. WrestleMania 40, what's bigger than the streak end? The longest reign in the modern era, and that would make sense for me. That being said, it was the right time, I think, at 39, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think everyone except a very, very small minority would probably think that. As far as Hollywood goes, though, I mean, you've just got to look at the guy's promos. He's a natural, like, talker. He's a naturally charismatic. It helps that he's got a very successful cousin in not only wrestling but Hollywood, who's already helped him get a role in one of his films. So there's every chance he could do that, or he could just go and do something based off his kind of acting chops from cutting promos. But I mean, he's, as I say, the guy's a star. You can tell he could be bigger than wrestling if he wanted to.
And Ash, where'd you go? These were just jokes, Ashley. I promise you. Yeah, tongue firmly implanted in cheek. She also says, "I'm ready for literally anyone else to be champion. I think he'd be good in Hollywood." Oh, I think he'll be great in acting, man. Honestly.
Speaking of Roman on the road, did you see they accidentally advertised him for a house show tonight?
I did see that.
And had to offer refunds to people who were expecting to see Roman there. That's wild.
And WWE's press release said, quote, "Oops, our bad," end quote. So
yeah. Yeah, he has. I saw Sandy saying he hopes he's at Money in the Bank. I'm pretty sure he's been announced for it now.
I think so.
There's no way to put him on the poster if he wasn't going to be there.
And Ash, I agree with you. I love the Bloodline storyline. When is too much of a good thing? Too much. 2 pieces of pizza is great. On 3, I might be regretting it. 5, I'm passing out. Like, I don't know. And look, it's all due respect to everyone involved. These guys have, I think the Usos in particular deserve an Oscar for this stuff. Like, you expect Roman to be able to pull this off, but the Usos are they're not Roman, but man, they've done so well. I mean, Solo, by not saying a word, is crushing it. And you would think, well, all I gotta do is just stand there. It's not. Yeah, come on, man.
Solo's got like so much presence, hasn't he?
It's true.
Guy can just stand there and just look like a beast just being there.
Ashley says I'd eat a Bloodline pizza, which just sounds gross. Okay. I love the Usos. I love them too. I love the Usos as a team. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. Rollins, yeah. What about this story that Seth may be in the next Captain America flick? Man?
He was on set, wasn't he? There was the photo that got leaked. I believe they said he was playing Serpent. I'm not too familiar with that character. I mean, what he was wearing, it was one of those things. Either he's just living the gimmick, or he's in costume for a role as a bad guy in a superhero movie.
That's true.
You just can't blur the line with Seth because it could be either.
Could be either. Actually, I'm not going to put your potty mouth comment on my screen. Language. Clean that up. I'll put it up there for you. Actually works blue. Can you tell? All right, kids. Guess what we're getting ready to do? It's 13 minutes to top the hour. The floor is open. Ray all day cannot wait. He's had his question ready for 47 minutes, and he's going to send it now. And when he does, we'll have to answer questions about a cookout, about Adam Cole and potato salad or some such stuff. Can't wait to see. And by this serpent thing, by the way, I'm a big Marvel guy. I think it was called the Serpent Society, I think, in the books. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, I think, led the Serpent Society, I think, in the comics.
Madam Hydra, isn't she?
She is, yeah. But there was like a lot of throwaway characters in that little heel group, if I can say. Oh, here we go. Ray All Day says, Heavy D or Rob Bass? And part 2, Lost Boys or De La Soul. That's the first Lost Boys reference you've ever thrown me. And if Adam Cole came to your house and invited you and family to a carnival with unlimited rides and games and said you can bring a friend, could I join? Later wanted to take you out for salmon and garden salad, can I join as well? This is for both of you. Jay, go. Go ahead.
Heavy D, De La Soul. Yes, yes, yes. I think I might have done one too many yeses there.
That's all right.
There'll be another one, I'm sure.
That's all right. I think I might agree with you on every point there. We made that one easy.
That was a good, easy one.
Tim says, Jay, give me your impression of Damian Priest. Now, Tim, do you want an actual impression? Or you just want Jay to get... there you
go. I think he's a really good heel. I think Damian Priest's a really, like, underrated wrestler. I mean, just look at his match with Bad Bunny the other week. I mean, there's obviously a lot of trust within him to kind of carry that whole kind of storyline into that match, and especially with the amount of eyes on it and the amount of exposure it got. I think I do prefer him as a heel. Like I quite liked him in NXT when he was doing the whole kind of like party animal stuff, but I always thought he was much better as an imposing heel than as a babyface. I think there's real potential that he could kind of be the breakout star of the Bloodline, not the Bloodline, the Judgment Day. That's not called Rhea Ripley or Dominic Mysterio.
Great.
But yeah, I'm a huge Priest fan, huge Judgment Day fan.
Damian Priest is much better as a heel, in my opinion. I agree. All right, Robbie's been getting creative. He'll give you real names and ask you to guess the wrestler. I think I know all three of these. Number one,
I think I know all three of them.
Number 1, Dylan Mark Postal is Hornswoggle.
Yeah.
2, Anthony Tony Corelli is Santino Marella.
Yeah.
I think. And Matt Osborne has got to be Matt Bourne, who was also Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown.
Come on, Robbie. Let me know there, buddy. Do I get a cookie? Do we get cookies? That'd be great.
I could do with a cookie.
Ash says, I like Priest, solid performer. Sandy Germany says, I hope Carlito comes back to WWE.
That pop he got was humongous.
Yeah, this ain't Stone Cold. Let's calm down. I'm just saying.
He looked great as well, though. Like, whenever he comes back, he does look great.
Carlito in Puerto Rico is Stone Cold in Texas. Are you kidding?
That's true.
Ooh. Ray says, who's winning the belt, Seth or AJ? And you find having Gunther defend against Ali comes off terrible.
I'm really happy that it's Gunther versus Ali, because I think Ali's really underutilized.
He is.
And he's a tremendous talent. And I think that Gunther has better matches with guys of that kind of size.
Shane says the Paul Driver album. What was your favorite song? Grab Them Cakes was one of mine. That's the JYD song, right?
Yeah. The title track, man. Title track absolutely slaps.
Wasn't the Demolition song on that album?
I believe it was, yeah.
Rick Derringer.
It's been a while since I listened to it.
That song, even though the idea of Demolition was a horrible idea, that song is pretty good. It's Here Comes the Axe, Here Comes the Smasher. The Demolition Walking Disaster. Pain and Destruction is our middle name. I still remember that. I'm not singing it.
What a rush.
You got me on that one. Carlos says, did you see MJF show up on any show? Yeah. Creative Pro Wrestling, right?
It's where he trained.
There you go.
It was their, I believe it was their anniversary show.
Nice.
And him and the Acclaimed were both trained there. So a lot of like kind of alumni showing up.
Robbie, the answer is I have a no prize for you. It's on the way. It's in the mail. Keep your eyes open. Carlos says, look at the Tony Khan announcement at Dynamite. See what he said. He really messed it up if you hear it carefully. And it's pre-recorded.
I was going to say, I thought it was pre-recorded. There's no way Tony's that composed. Not with a live mic in his face. He's usually like screeching. He
feels the need to scream. I guess he thinks the live audience can't hear him. I'm like, you're on a microphone. You don't have to scream. I don't,
He just gets excited, bless him.
Yeah, right. Larry says, I love that they call Priest a Punishment of the Judgment Day. It is a callback to Punishment Martinez. Well done. I interviewed him when he was Punishment Martinez, and he was in his car driving to a show. And he stopped and got gas because I could hear him thanking the girl at the counter because he bought something. I wasn't going to complain. He was doing his interview with me in the car, so I was okay with that.
That's brilliant.
Ash says, why can't Brock Lesnar go away? Because he needs the money, Ash. You're going to deprive
that man has a family.
This man has a family. He's got a mom and a daddy.
He's got to pay for his hunting license somehow.
He's got a tractor and chickens. Mark Briscoe will tell you, this man's got to feed his chickens, Ash. Shame on you. Ray says Creative Pro is like 10 minutes from my house in Long Island. MJF cut a sick promo. Nice. Tim says, who was the next NBA player on the 6M podcast? So we've covered Jordan's Bulls and we covered Allen Iverson. Ooh, I don't know. I think I'd like to do Magic and Bird at some point. I think that'd be fun. That rivalry. I think that'd be fun.
Sounds good.
Dion said I had to sing the Demolition. No, I don't. I got to pay taxes and die. That's what I got to do. That's what I have to do. Carlos says instead of Virginia, he said something else. I wonder what he said.
So, is he talking about Tony? I thought you meant MJF for a second there.
I did too. That's what I thought he was saying.
I was gonna say last year I went to there was a wrestling convention in my hometown, and MJF was there.
Nice.
And he was just like working the entire time. Like he was walking around. So I was stood watching like a Q&A with somebody, and this guy like knocks into the back of me and just goes effing move, and I turned around as if to be like, who are you talking to? And it was MJF's like, oh, okay. He goes up to like a toy stand, and this guy's like showing him like this toy that's like valued at like $500, and he hands it to MJF like an idiot. And the first thing MJF does is like pretend to drop it and nearly actually drop it. And the guy's just the color just drained from his face.
So you had some guy nudge you and cuss at you, and you're ready to throw hands, and turn around and saw who it was.
Yeah. And then it was MJF was like, yeah, probably better not do that.
Jeez.
Might get the opportunity to interview him someday. That'll go over him.
Yeah, don't blow it now. Ash ain't backing down. She says he can go be a farmer then. He has shoulder muscles and the personality of cabbage. That's it. Well, you know what? If that's your hill to die on, look, I tried to plead the man's case. I'm here for Brock and his struggle to keep money in the bank and food on the table. I'm just saying. Ray says I heard a rumor that Bianca and the Prophets are turning heel. And can you do a 6 a.m. on 6M on Kobe Bryant? That'd be a good show.
That would be a good show.
I mean, Bianca's been heel. She's fine. I've
been kind of on the sort of the side of I feel like Bianca's in need of a bit of a refresh at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so far they can kind of go with a babyface champion. I feel like either they need to have her lose the title and then chasing again, or flip the switch and have her turn heel,
Mhm.
or both. Have her lose the title and then turn heel because she's lost the title.
She was a despicable heel in NXT.
She was great as a heel in NXT.
She was, yeah. Thanks for hanging out, Ash. You're the best.
Take care, Ash.
Let's see. Dion says, when's Breaker make his main roster debut? Yes.
Post SummerSlam,
I think so too.
Well, they seem to like having like a debut at SummerSlam like they did last year, didn't they, with Damage Control, and a few others. So could do something like that.
Yeah. Why not? Is he the future of that company?
I think he's definitely gonna be in the upper echelon for sure. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. Given isn't he only like 23, 24?
Shut up. He's that young?
He's stupidly young.
Shut up. Now I gotta look that up. Because you done made me think something.
Braun Steiner. I'm disappointed when they turned him heel. They didn't make him like just turn him into Scott.
He is 25 years old. Shut up.
Yeah. Wow. That's like the other day when we were talking about Dan Maloney and I found out he was 26 and I was like, that's ridiculous. He's been around since forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Ray says, my birthday is next Friday. Can you sing me happy birthday? No, I need money first. That's a Ringo reference if you know your Beatles stuff. Let's see. Tim says, Jay, this is your turn. Top 5 AEW wrestlers right now, both men and women champions as well.
Okay. So just top 5 overall, or top 5 men and top 5 women?
I guess he means, yeah.
I'll do overall.
Okay.
So I think you know one of these is going to be, because we were speaking about him before. Roosh, definitely Roosh, always Roosh. Ricky Starks, Buddy Matthews, big Buddy Matthews fan. Orange Cassidy again. We were talking about how great he was before, and Bryan Danielson.
That's a good 5, honestly. What about women?
Women. Willow Nightingale. This is going to probably lean more into Ring of Honor, if I'm being honest, but Willow, Athena, Jamie Hayter. I think who else I'm really big fan of. I love Chris Statlander, but with her being injured, I feel like, because he's saying like right now, I feel like that'll be a disservice to other people. I think Toni Storm's killing it at the moment. And Sky Blue, really been impressed by her. I think she's improved leaps and bounds in the last sort of 3-4 months.
Man, this sounds like a creepy old dude thing to say, and I don't mean it to, but she's a cutie. I'm going to tell you right now. I hate to boil it down to that. She's very good in the ring, and I'm not trying to, lessen her ability or anything. But yeah, and God, her ring IQ is there as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, as soon as she comes out and smiles at the crowd, like she's won the crowd over. Though I see what you mean. Like, yeah, she's just got babyface written all over her.
Oh, she does. Yeah, like she's the kind of performer that if she gets jumped by 3 women, yeah, dude, that it doesn't, dude. If baby faces were to jump her, they're just going to heal those faces out. If Britt Baker jumps her, if it doesn't pick a baby face woman in that company, if they jump her, that person
maybe not Jamie Hayter.
You don't think so?
Nah, everyone loves Jamie.
That's true.
I think it depends where it is though, because remember when they tried to have Britt work heel in Pittsburgh, or it might have been Philly. It was a home state basically, and the crowd were just like, nah, come on. What are we doing here? But yeah, Sky Blue's tremendous. Have you seen a match with Athena from Ring of Honor last week?
I did, yeah.
Oh, wow. Like,
really good.
That was tremendous.
I've not caught up on Ring of Honor from last night. I got to get caught up.
It was a good show.
Chris with the K says, where was Sky Blue a champion? I can't answer that.
She's based in Chicago, isn't she? Maybe it was Warrior.
Maybe it was
They
Warrior.
run Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, kids, I think that's going to do it for us. We're 2 minutes past the hour. We have rolled through a bunch of stuff here today. I got to thank my guest here today, Jay. Thank you so much for tuning in or for joining. Thanks, kids, for tuning in. Jay, before we split, give the good people out there a chance to find you elsewhere on the social media dial. Let them know about your show and where they can find you.
So I am part of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. We release content more or less every other day on YouTube or wherever podcasts are available. I'm currently running a series which is called Fantasy Booking. Every series I'm going to do basically like a different show. So currently it's AW All in London. Tom recorded his episode today, which will be out in about 2.5 weeks. And yeah, we also have a weekly podcast where we kind of run down stuff. We've got Aaron, who used to do cover NXT quite thoroughly. He just does whatever he wants on there. It's like the Wild West, but very fun content. And Troy and myself do weekly watching a old match from YouTube. This week's, I believe, is Chris Hero versus Zack Sabre Jr. from Limitless Wrestling in Maine. On YouTube, YouTube, Facebook, and I think Instagram, it's Untitled Wrestling Podcast. Twitter, Twitch, and Discord, Untitled Rest Pod. We're trying to put out as much cool and different stuff as we can at the moment, so a follow would be very appreciated.
Nice. Yeah, go check out the show, kids. It's worth your time. Great listen, actually. I was just listening to the show today. Got caught up today, so there you go. All right, kids, we're going to get out of here. Jay, thanks again for joining me, man. I appreciate you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
There you go, kids. Jay Luff there with the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. That's all I got for you, folks. We're going to get out of here today. Do me a favor. Be sure to subscribe to the Main Event on all the major platforms. Don't forget, this is not just a video podcast. It's also audio. You don't have to look at this ugly mug all the time. You can just listen to this ugly mug. So that might be easier on you. I don't know. But go download today. Subscribe and download. All the major platforms is there. Don't forget the 6M podcast, movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. Please go subscribe today. All I'm ever looking for is a download and your feedback. That's all I want. Save your cash. Spend your cash on wrestling tickets. Buy your kids something. Don't give your money to me. I don't need it. I'm good. Just listen to my stuff and tune in whenever we go live. Tell your friends. Tell all your friends about us. I appreciate you. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Thanks again, kids. Have a great one. Tom Clark's Main Events. Good night, Facebook.